Hey there guys, here with Bo, and thank you for tuning in to another video. Now today we're going to be discussing an article that has just broken. 4 US lawmakers join call to freeze Facebook's Libra project. So is this project even going to go ahead? Is it even going to get started? Is it ever going to go live? That's what we're going to be discussing today. I've got a bunch of sources here to go through that show that the regulatory pressure on Facebook and Libra, the Libra cryptocurrency project specifically, is getting... the heat is getting turned up every single day. So guys, this is going to be a really interesting one if you're into and covering this Facebook Libra project. So stick around guys, thank you for tuning in, and let's get into the video. So welcome back to the video guys. You are here with Bo Stoner from Cryptocurrency Australia, the channel where Bitcoin, economics and politics come together. Now we're looking at this article here that's just broken. 4 US lawmakers join call to freeze Facebook's Libra project. US lawmakers are formally calling on Facebook to cease all development of its Libra cryptocurrency in a new letter sent to executives at the social media giant. Democrats from the US House of Representatives wrote an open letter to Facebook Tuesday, calling on a moratorium to all Libra development while the Financial Services Committee and affiliated subcommittees hold hearings to determine how it would operate and what protections would be implemented to protect user privacy. Representatives Maxine Waters, chairwoman of the House Financial Services Committee, Carolyn Maloney, Chair of Investor Protection, Entrepreneurship and Capital Markets, William Lacey Clay, Chairman of the Housing, Community Development and Insurance Subcommittee, Al Green, Stephen Lynch, Chairman of the Task Force on Financial Technology, all signed onto the letter, which was addressed to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, COO Sheryl Sandberg, and Calibra CEO David Marcus. Waters had repeatedly called on Facebook to pause development of Libra, though this is the first time she has done so as part of a formal letter to the company. The letter described concerns with Facebook's track record, as well as the potential for Libra to act as a new global currency system. It appears that these products may lend themselves to an entirely new global financial system that is based out of Switzerland and intended to rival US monetary policy and the dollar. This raises serious privacy, trading, national security, and monetary policy concerns for not only Facebook's over 2 billion users, but also for investors, consumers, and the broader global economy. The lawmakers wrote, adding, "While Facebook has published a white paper on these projects, the scant information provided about the intent, roles, potential use, and security of the Libra and Calibra exposes the massive scale of the risks and the lack of clear regulatory protections. If products and services like these are left improperly regulated and without sufficient oversight, they could pose systemic risks that endanger US and global financial stability. These vulnerabilities could be exploited and obscured by bad actors, as other cryptocurrencies, exchanges, and wallets have been in the past." Reading on, privacy concerns. The letter references recent privacy issues involving Facebook, including the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where a political consulting firm gained access to the data of more than 50 million Facebook users. Facebook is already expecting to pay a $5 billion fine to the Federal Trade Commission as a result of its involvement with Cambridge Analytica, and remains under a consent decree for deceiving consumers and failing to keep consumer data private. Now, last bit we'll read here. Because Facebook is already in the hands of over a quarter of the world's population, it is imperative that Facebook and its partners immediately cease implementation plans until regulators and Congress have an opportunity to examine these issues and take action, the letter said. During this moratorium, we intend to hold public hearings on the risks and benefits of cryptocurrency-based activities and explore legislative solutions. Failure to cease implementation before we can do so risks a new Swiss-based financial system that is too big to fail. Now, I've been covering Facebook for a while, and my general sentiment has been, as time went on, up till about 3 weeks ago, is this project isn't going ahead. Based on the research I had done, based on the pending litigation that we're going to get into in just a moment, against Facebook is becoming too great, and this project isn't going to go ahead. I'm going to provide you evidence from a variety of different sources to show some of the trouble that Facebook is in at the moment and why it makes no sense for regulators to allow Libra to go ahead. So, getting straight into that. First article here. UK regulators want a long look at Libra, admonish Facebook's mantra to move fast, break things. Just reading the first couple of paragraphs here. Facebook's former mantra of move fast and break things won't cut it for a senior official at Britain's top financial watchdog who spoke at the University of Cambridge on Tuesday. Although Facebook reportedly spoke with the Financial Conduct Authority, Executive Director of Strategy and Competition Christopher Woolard raised a few points of contention about the social media company's efforts to introduce a frictionless global tender through the Libra network by June 2020. Libra's size and scale will pose questions for society and government more generally about what is acceptable and desirable in this space, Woolard said, according to Reuters. Historically, this may have been a sector that has lived by the mantra of move fast and break things, but the issues raised here require deep thought and detail, he said. Woolard's thrust being that Facebook's infamous policy of moving quick to gain market dominance and sabotaging competitors is not an acceptable strategy when deploying global financial services. The 28 corporate and non-governmental backers of Libra maintain that they are attempting to expand financial access to the global unbanked population, or to essentially make it easy to move money as it is to share a photograph on Facebook's ecosystem. Now, just a short while ago, this was back on the 18th of June, I put out this tweet. Over before it all began. Bipartisan support for ending project completely? Highly likely. Was Libra a distraction for pending litigation? Perhaps. Bad for Facebook overall? Very. And I just tagged Saifedean Amos, who did a white paper review, who said there was a risk in it for he had a significant regulatory risk. And I retweeted a video I had made about Maxine Waters calling for the pause of Facebook's Libra project. Now we're going to get into some pending litigation, which people have either forgotten about or people just aren't aware of. It goes deep. We've got about 6 articles here. I'm not going to go into them in detail. I'm just going to kind of read the heading and maybe give a little bit of comment about them. But just know that some of these potentially have wide-reaching global implications for Facebook. Remembering, Facebook is a global company, but it is headquartered in the United States, meaning that it comes under US law and regulatory jurisdiction. Mark Zuckerberg has already been called in front of Congress. These guys do not have a good history. And from what I can see from an optics perspective, things are far worse behind the scenes than what the company is projecting, which is fairly typical. Anyway, let's get into some of these articles. First one here from The Verge. This was on September the 28th, 2018. Facebook faces class action lawsuit over massive new hack. Just the first paragraph here. Facebook is already facing immense fallout from revelations this morning that a hacker exploited a security flaw in a popular feature of the social network to steal account credentials of as many as 50 million users. The company is now facing a class action complaint filed on behalf of one California resident, Carla Echevarria, and one Virginia resident, Derek Walker. Both allege that Facebook's lack of proper security has exposed them and additional potential class members to a significantly increased chance of identity theft as a result of the breach. Now, just a couple of months later, on November the 21st, 2018, this guy, billionaire George Soros, sold Facebook, Netflix, and Goldman stock just before they tumbled. Billionaire investor and liberal activist George Soros has been known for investing moves that have succeeded wildly, and also for ones gone horribly wrong. So Soros Fund Management, whom George Soros, I believe, is the chairman, sold out of Facebook stock. Why would they do that? Do they know something's coming? Likely. Moving on. March 14th, 2019. As Mark Zuckerberg tightens grip on Facebook, 2 top deputies leave. So we've got executive leaders in the Facebook executive team leaving the company. 2 of Facebook's top executives, one regarded as the company's number 3 and the other the head of its WhatsApp messaging service, are leaving after disagreements with Mark Zuckerberg, the chief executive, over the social network's future direction. The differences stemmed from Mr. Zuckerberg's asserting control over his company and its apps, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger, by rolling out a plan to integrate the services into a single privacy-focused platform, according to 6 people involved in the situation. Moving on. Now, this was on March 13th. Facebook's data deals are under criminal investigation. Federal prosecutors are conducting a criminal investigation into the data deals Facebook struck with some of the world's largest technology companies, intensifying scrutiny of the social media giant's business practices as it seeks to rebound from a year of scandal and setbacks. A grand jury in New York has subpoenaed records from at least 2 prominent makers of smartphones and other devices, according to 2 people who were familiar with the request and who insisted on anonymity to discuss confidential legal matters. Both companies had entered into partnerships with Facebook, gaining broad access to the personal information of hundreds of millions of users. On to the next, from The Guardian. This was on 13th of June. Facebook emails seem to show Zuckerberg knew of privacy issues, report claims. Firm has uncovered emails that appear to show chief executive's connection to potentially problematic practices. Facebook has uncovered emails that appear to show Mark Zuckerberg's connection to potentially damaging privacy practices at the company, the Wall Street Journal reported. The emails were uncovered as part of a Federal Trade Commission investigation after The Guardian reported that the personal data of 50 million Facebook users had been improperly harvested by Cambridge Analytica, a data firm that worked on Donald Trump's election team and the winning Brexit campaign. On to the next. This was on the 23rd of the 6th. Aussie watchdog readies clampdown on Google, Facebook. Australia's competition watchdog is poised to call for far-reaching new regulations on Facebook, Google and other tech giants, which could have global ramifications for how they make money and choose the content people consume. Australia's Competition and Consumer Commission's recommendations, if confirmed, would be among the strongest yet in a drive to rein in the power of digital behemoths amid a host of worldwide concerns ranging from antitrust issues to privacy abuse and their role in spreading disinformation and hateful content. Following an 18-month inquiry into the issue of digital platforms, the ACCC is due to issue its final report by June 30. It is expected to include proposals for sweeping controls over tech companies, handling of personal data, and their use of opaque algorithms to rank how they display advertisements, search results, and content. So, that's just some of them. There are more out there, but this is just showing you what is actually happening behind the scenes. So, from a common, a logical perspective, I don't see regulators seeing Libra go ahead, not with the trouble that Facebook is in. And we're only at the very beginning, right? So, part of the legal process, they have something called discovery. So through subpoenas, they can request certain information be brought to the court. People involved in the suit must comply. They must comply. They must bring more information to the court. Some of that may be sealed, some of it may be unsealed, which means if it's unsealed, the public has access to it. Generally, it's only sealed if it contains classified information or may damage or hurt someone else's reputation that may not be directly involved in that part of the litigation. So from my perspective, don't get it confused that I don't think this would be a good thing for crypto, as in people getting involved. I do. It's already spread mass awareness of cryptocurrency worldwide, this project just being announced, let alone going ahead. But I honestly, at this point, do not think this project is going ahead. I do not think this project is going ahead. Now, I'm going to leave you with one little article here at the end before we close out, because it's something that I want you guys to go and look into yourselves. Title of the article here, Pentagon Kills LifeLog Project. The Pentagon cancelled its so-called LifeLog project in an ambitious effort to build a database tracking a person's entire existence. Run by DARPA, the Defense Department's research arm, LifeLog aimed to gather in a single place just about everything an individual says, sees, or does. The phone calls made, the TV shows watched, the magazines read, the plane tickets bought, the emails sent and received. Out of this seemingly endless ocean of information, computer scientists would plot distinctive routes in the data, mapping relationships, memories, events, and experiences. This was back in 2004. When did Facebook start? When did this project end? Some similarities there. I'm going to leave it with you guys to go and do some more research yourselves. There'll be links to everything down in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, guys, the likes are always really appreciated. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to come on board for all things Bitcoin, economics, and politics. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you watching the video, guys. My name's Bo. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.